Welcome to BetMGM Steelers Kickoff.
And a top of the morning to you as we greet you from the Emerald Isle. This is Dublin, Ireland. It's the site of the first ever regular season NFL game to be played here in Dublin. Good morning, Bob Pompeani, Rich Walsh. We are here live. We greet you from the historic Dublin Castle, one of many historic landmarks here, and we got here ahead of the team. So, Rich, we had an opportunity to search around and find some great places here in Dublin.
Yeah, no question about it. Definitely an amazing city. Reminds me a lot of Pittsburgh, and after a 6.5-hour flight and a 5-hour time change, we hit the ground running. We checked out two of the most famous attractions here, the Jameson Distillery and the Guinness Factory, and I was really impressed by the Guinness Factory. I never really drink Guinness. I don't like Guinness, but I liked it here. It definitely tastes better here in Ireland than it does in the States. And they took us on a private tour and taste testing, and then took us to the top of the Guinness Factory where you could overlook Dublin, and it was amazing. It was beautiful. And then they handed me a pint of Guinness with my face on it and my hair. I didn't want to drink it, but I did, and it was good. And the other thing that was wonderful about Dublin is where the Steelers are staying. They arrived on Friday morning for practice, and we checked out the Carton House. It was built in the 1700s. It was a privately owned by a family, a duke, and it's an amazing facility. There's almost 200 rooms there, and the Steelers have the entire place right now. Also, 2 golf courses. I didn't have a chance to play, and they have 2 NFL practice facilities and practice fields. It's an amazing, spectacular area, and it was. I had a lot of fun out there spending the day with the Steelers and everyone else at the Carton House.
And while that was going on, had some time to explore myself. St. Patrick's Cathedral, one of the best places to go if you come here. It's a beautiful spot, and it's one of the spots where Ambassador Dan Rooney spent a lot of time when he came here to Dublin, Ireland. And beyond that, Trinity College, which is a great place. If you ever come to Dublin, you want to check that out. Gives you the entire history of this island, how it came to be. It's got a great library there, and if you love that kind of stuff, that's your place to go at Trinity College. But for the Steelers, as Rich said, it was a trip to the Carton House. That's where they went through their first practice. In fact, they got here on Friday morning, and they practiced right after that, went through it, and the Rooneys gave them a little bit of a surprise because they had, instead of their regular names on the back, Rich, it was their Gaelic Irish names, and I think a lot of those guys got a kick out of that. One thing they understand, that this is a special trip for the Rooney family. They are embracing this historic opportunity in Dublin.
I think the energy is great. I think a lot of guys are just bummed they can't have a Guinness before the game. But hopefully we can have a celebratory Guinness after. But we're locked in on this game, understand the task we have at hand. As much as we want to have fun, we want to have fun on that field and make sure we take care of business.
It's certainly an opportunity for me to educate the Steelers about the late, great Ambassador Rooney and his passion for this place and his vision for this game, and we've done some of that. But largely, the work we do here is business as usual.
Yeah, and the thing is, it is work. I mean, you forget about that sometimes. People come here enjoying the surroundings, but a very important game is the Steelers are 2-1, and so is Minnesota.
Yeah, and this is a huge game for the Steelers. And one thing, I was at the practice all week and yesterday and Friday, and they talked a little bit about it being a business trip, and this is an important game. It isn't a fun trip. Now, they did have a chance to spend a little time in Dublin for a few hours, but nothing for a lengthy period of time spending down here and walking around. But it is a business trip. They want to win this game, although they want to win this game for the Rooney family. Art talked to the team on Wednesday and emphasized how important this game is and being part of the first NFL game in Ireland. So I know all the players talked about it being a business trip, but also winning it for the Rooney family.
And they want to get to 3-1, and that's the main reason why they are here for sure. And, this is the second time the Steelers have played overseas. You might remember back in 2013 in a regular season game, they played this same Minnesota team in London, and it was not a result the Steelers liked because they fell behind in that game, and they eventually went on to lose at 34-27. Ben Roethlisberger had a fumble at the end of the game, which Minnesota recovered, and that was it. And as far as the Minnesota Vikings, as we check out our Hyundai by the numbers, they've done this before. This is going to be their 5th opportunity to be here, and they are 4-0 in their previous trips. They beat the Jets here last year. Back in 2021, they had the Giants and then the Browns in 2017. As a matter of fact, after this game, they're staying here in Minnesota, and they will have an opportunity to take on the Browns again as they move to London So a little bit of a double header here if you're the Minnesota Vikings.
That's going to be a tough road trip. And speaking of being on the road, the Steelers were on the road last week in New England. That was a big win. Very inconsistent the Steelers have been so far this year. They jumped out to a 14-0 lead on offense, but then you saw the Patriots tie things up. They needed 5 turnovers from a defense. It's also been inconsistent, but they, managed to pull that one out on the road. They're 2-0 on the road so far, and this is another road game, even though officially they're home, making it the trip over here to Dublin. They need to be more consistent in this game.
No question about it, and it would help on both sides of the ball. Looking for one of those complete efforts, which they have not gotten so far. And this is important because if you look at the AFC North standings, you can see the Steelers would love to get to 3-1. Right now they are tied with Cincinnati at 2-1. The Cleveland Browns and Baltimore Ravens are both 1-2. Baltimore coming off a tough loss to a good team in Detroit on Monday night. We have plenty more coming up as we continue to be live here in Dublin, Ireland. It is a beautiful place to be. We're glad you joined us here this morning. And when we come back, we're going to start talking about how the Steelers put this trip together, how much preparation was involved, and it is a lot. We'll do that when we continue live right here in Dublin on KDKA TV.
Welcome back to BetMGM Steelers Kickoff.
Welcome back to our kickoff program. Everyone is Irish, even us, Bob Pompeani, Rich Walsh, as we get you set for this big game tonight. And there have been people from all over the world covering this event here, including the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have their own production team, and they've covered a lot of what's gone on here. And they, every week, present the standard, which gives you an up-close and inside look at what they do, especially for this one in preparation of a trip to Ireland.
Croke Park is a very special place both in Ireland and across Europe. We're one of the largest stadiums in Europe and the largest in Ireland. We hold a very special place in the heart of Irish people, with the headquarters for our national sports of hurling and Gaelic football. And it's where we come together to celebrate both club and county, both in championship and league games. Croke Park plays a major part in Irish history and has done down through the years. We've had numerous events here, from tragic ones from the likes of Bloody Sunday all the way to our All-Ireland finals and then on to concerts. We've had the Pope's Day Mass.
When you talk to the Irish about what that stadium means to them, they light up in terms of just how special of a place that is. Now that we're going to play a regular season game at Croke and the Steelers will be a part of that history, really fitting, and we're just honored to have the opportunity.
It's where people come together to celebrate, whether it be for sport, concerts, and now we have the NFL coming. I think that really is the icing on the cake for us, to be able to showcase our national stadium, to be able to showcase us for such a big and important game, such as an NFL game. I'm really looking forward to being part of it.
Before the NFL graces the hallowed pitch, the 141-year-old stadium received a facelift.
Croke Park has been preparing for the game for quite some time. Some of the biggest things we've had to do is we've relayed our pitch after the Robbie Williams concert. The locker rooms have been upgraded and expanded to accommodate an NFL team. An NFL team has a much larger panel than we would have in a GAA team, and equally the players themselves physically are larger. So we've expanded, upgraded and put a lot of effort into ensuring that when the players come over that they have a real authentic NFL experience in the locker room. I suppose the most notable change is Hill 16. The Hill 16 is normally a terrace for our games, and we're now installing seating there, which means the capacity on the hill will go down by approximately 50%, but it does mean that everyone in the stadium on the day gets to sit back and enjoy what's taking place on the field. The Dublin game is extremely important both to Croke Park and to the city of Dublin. I think it gives us an opportunity to showcase what we can do citywide, but especially for us here in the stadium, we take great pride in what we do on a day-to-day basis, on a match-to-match, week-to-week, and we're really relishing in the moment and looking forward to showing the world what we can do.
I smile when I think about the late, great Ambassador Rooney and how fired up he would be about this game. I remember when he was ambassador to Ireland, he used to have a 4th of July flag football game every year. But I also just simply think about the honor and privilege to play our game globally.
It is our hottest ticket by far of our international games and maybe of the season. And I think there's a reason for that. I think people are anxious to be at Croke Park and celebrate our great game.
My father and my mother, they would really love seeing this happen. It would be great. I'm sure they'll be looking down on this game and enjoying it very much.
And what a great experience it will be for the Rooney family and Steeler fans all across the world who have descended on Dublin, Ireland. When we come back, Minnesota Vikings will be up next, and Rich will take a preview of what the Vikings have done so far.
This Sunday, the Steelers return to Croke Park. This isn't a visit. It's a return ticket. Booked generations ago, where the journey began. Here, where waves of steel ripple, where black and gold runs through our veins, and pride doesn't need to be spoken, it's lived. Here, the chants echo, and the songs carry us. Here, where believers make every game a ritual, where the devotion of lifers never wavers, where loyalty stands unquestioned. A return to our roots. One legacy, one nation, Steeler Nation. The wait is over. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Ireland. Here we go.
Oh yeah, here we go as we are closing in on kickoff between the Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings. I got to tell you, if you've never been here, go to Croke Park when you do get here and check it out. It is one of the oldest buildings you're going to find, and it is the place that has seen some of the best Gaelic matches. You got rugby, you got soccer, we've seen college football games here, and now for the first time ever, an NFL regular season game. 82,300 seats available, and ticket demands for this were out of sight. I mean, when they first put it up there, it took a couple of days for this thing to be sold out, Rich. So this is going to be fun.
Yeah, all the fans in the queue, and it should be a lot of fun here later today. And a lot of attention has been paid to this trip. The Steelers making the trip to Ireland for good reasons because the Rooney's ties to this country. But this is a very important game against a very good team.
The Minnesota Vikings have been on a roller coaster ride over the first 3 games, but it seems like they might have their car back on track just in time to play the Steelers. They needed a comeback win in their opener to beat the lowly Bears in a game where young QB J.J. McCarthy looked horrible until he didn't.
McCarthy passes, caught, spinning grab by Aaron Jones.
In week 2, their offense looked pathetic again, gaining less than 200 total yards and just 10 first downs against the Falcons in a 22-6 loss. Although he finished the game, McCarthy injured his ankle, which forced veteran Carson Wentz to step in last week against the Bengals. And under Wentz, the Vikings offense came alive, putting up 34 points in the first half alone and trouncing Cincy 48-10. While their offense has been hit or miss, their defense has been a big hit. They rank in the top 10 in every defensive category and have been especially aggressive under former Steelers assistant Brian Flores, somebody Mike Tomlin is very familiar with. Something else the Vikings may have on their side, unlike the Steelers, they're much more familiar with these overseas trips. Today's game will be their 3rd in the past 5 seasons.
All right, taking a look at today's South College game plan, the Vikings stats and rankings are kind of all over the place. On offense, they rank 6th in points, but are somehow near the bottom in total yards per game. That might be due to their opportunistic defense that piles up the points on their own. But much like last week's opponent, the Vikings have been undisciplined. They've been flagged more than just about anybody in the NFL. The one thing that worries me about this, Pop, is Carson Wentz, Pennsylvania. I remember what he did in Philadelphia against the Steelers.
No question about it. I think a lot of people would have preferred J.J. McCarthy in there. He's young. He's had some issues. But it's going to be Wentz who has one game under his belt. And we talked about Brian Flores. You mentioned him. He knows what he's doing. He knows the Steelers. They know him. And his defense is one of confusion, especially pre-snap. And right now we're going to talk to Merrill Hodge, who has more on that defense and Brian Flores in today's playbook.
Hi, everyone. Welcome into the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex for the playbook. All right, the Minnesota Vikings. The one thing that they do, I think better than anybody in football, they create confusion defensively. So right here, there's only one guy with his hand in the dirt. This is very odd looking. This is not very systematic to what you're used to. You see, 3 guys on the ground or 4 guys, very seldom one. Then everybody else is standing up. But from the end zone, you're really going to see, I think, what is really where they are extremely dangerous. Keep in mind, they only bring 4 people. So by number-wise, this is not a pressure. Illusion-wise, it makes it look like a pressure because they got people standing up, and sometimes get offensive linemen, even quarterbacks and receivers and backs get confused on who's who, and they miss people. But in this case, what the Vikings do a good job, and they're known for this, is how they execute their pressures. I mean, look at how the stun inside takes the center. And 76, the guard's working out to the outside because 58's dangerous. 91's coming, even though the tackle has him, but he has to respect 58. So he occupies his eyes too long there. 44 rips across the center, and now here comes 51 untouched. I mean, these are the things that they do so well and are so effective, that your offensive line have to have a big day against these guys along with your backs. They have a big day, and they handle these pressures. Our quarterback will make them pay for it.
All right, Merrill, thanks very much. That Minnesota defense doesn't have all that many big-name recognition players, but they, as a group, when they're on, they play a very good brand of defense. When we come back here in Dublin, Ireland, we're going to be joined by a Steelers insider from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Jerry Dulac, who has his thoughts about this game, the preparation of it. It all is back right here shortly on KDKA.
Steelers Kickoff is presented by McClellan's Contracting and Roofing. If our name goes on it, we stand behind it, so you can stand in it.
All right, welcome back to Dublin, Ireland. We're closing in on kickoff today, the Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings. Right now, we will join our Steelers insider from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Here's Jerry Dulac.
You know, fellas, not a lot has changed from 2013. The Steelers flew over Thursday night, got here Friday morning, and it's the same travel schedule they employed in 2013. Now, Mike Tomlin said all during the week, first of all, we moved practice up early on Wednesday and Thursday to get them acclimated to practicing more in the morning. He also wanted them to go to bed earlier at night and get up earlier in the morning. Those are little things. We'll see how that plays out. As for the stadium itself, they put in a new field back in the summer for this game. And it's basically it's 100% ryegrass. And when you look at the grasses back home, especially in Pittsburgh, that stadium, Acrisure Stadium, is a mix. Well, it's 100% Kentucky bluegrass, but a lot of grasses in Pennsylvania are a mix of Kentucky blue and ryegrass. So I don't think the surface is going to have any effect on this game. But it is a new playing surface put in specifically for this game.
Thanks a lot, Jerry. As always, great stuff. Something else that's interesting about this trip, the Steelers wanted to make it feel like home and have their home comforts. They shipped out Gatorade because they don't have Gatorade here, Heinz ketchup, hot sauce, and a bunch of amenities that they use every day at the practice facility. So they wanted it to feel more like Pittsburgh than Dublin, Ireland.
Permanis, maybe? Who knows? Everything's over here from Pittsburgh, the comforts of home on the road. When we come back, it's time for predictions of this big game. We'll do that next as we continue right here from Dublin, Ireland.
Welcome back to BetMGM Steelers Kickoff.
We are closing just over 30 minutes before kickoff. Time for some predictions. Rich, you're first.
Well, this is obviously an important game for the Steelers because of the Rooney family. The players want to win this game, and I think they do win this game. I think it's going to be a close game. We've seen some inconsistencies on offense and defense, but the defense has played much better lately, and I think this offense can score. I like the Steelers to win this one 27-24 and win the first ever NFL game here in Ireland. And since Charlie Batch isn't here with us, he gave his prediction, another close one, and he also picks the Steelers. He likes the Steelers in a closer one, 24-23. So two guys like to pick the Steelers here, Bob.
Well, I don't think it's going to end because Jerry Dulac also likes the Steelers 24-21. And I'm going to say a lesser scoring game, 19-17. I think it may be a sloppy start just because of the jet lag involved here, but I think the Steelers will win this one. And that's pretty much going to do it for us. We're anxiously looking forward to this first ever game here, regular season in Dublin. For Rich Walsh, I'm Bob Pompeani. Big thanks to Ian Smith, who's done yeoman's work here. He's behind the camera. You can't see him, but thank you, Ian. Enjoy your day. We'll wrap it all up tonight on KDK Plus with the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, then the #1 Cochrane Sports Showdown. That's late night, 11:35 KDK TV. Thanks for joining us. Have a great Irish morning and a Steeler win, hopefully, right here on KDKA.